So Ali, you're gonna get a pro card and then play golf?
Yeah, that's the plan. I didn't really want to say that on the podcast, Isaac. Thank you very much.
We can clip that bit out. We can clip that bit out.
But anyway, so yeah, so like I was just saying then in regards to like training and like how bodybuilding style training is never going to really leave what I do. But I have changed my thought process on training an awful amount over the last 6 months. A
Yeah,
ridiculous
I've
amount.
felt this. I've felt that you've changed your thought processes a little bit. I wouldn't say a ridiculous amount. I think the principles are still the same.
Yeah, no, the principles that yeah, that was a bit of an exaggeration. So yeah, I think going to failure, I am not as 100% for anymore. So when I say
Mhm.
going to failure here, what I'm talking about here from a point of forced reps.
Yep.
And I think you need to be intelligent when you train. So I'll give you an example today. So we've got an incline press, and the previous week I done 2 plates plus 15 aside for 7 reps, sorry. And then I done 2 plates plus a 10 for 9 reps. I want to get 2 sets on 2 plates 15 today. 2 plates
Mhm.
plus 15 today. So I got 6 reps and I didn't go for the seventh. So the reason why I didn't go for the seventh is me trying to grind that seventh one out would have then
Yep.
impacted the following set afterwards. So
Cool.
you can argue I left the rep in reserve. Okay,
Mhm.
because they got true. And then I got 2 sets of 6 reps. But the
Yep.
last one was a grinder. But that
Mhm.
was my chest done and dusted then. So I think when it comes to training to failure, it needs to be really programmed into, is it the last exercise for that given muscle group, or is it the last exercise on that given workout? And is it going to affect the sets afterwards? Because we're looking at overall stimulus of a tissue when it comes to training. We're not just looking for that one set. And I think a lot of people die on that one set. Like that one set means everything. But that one set is a miniature bit of activity over a grand like time different, like a grand space of time. So that's where I'm changing because I used to kill myself on every set,
Mhm.
whereas now I don't. Um, because I do feel it to be inferior to being smarter.
Fair
What
enough.
if what was the catalyst moment for you that made you transition into that? If that's a recent, well, somewhat recent
Chris
stuff for you.
Beardsley stuff, like Chris Beardsley stuff, like really, really delving into the science, like multi-unit recruitment and how quickly like fatigue will impact the amount of multi-units we can recruit. And that's what we're trying to do at the end of the day is get high threshold multi-units firing. Recovery markers, like my recovery markers are the highest they've ever been. And you can argue I'm the most stressed I should be.
Hmm.
Like sorting a house out. My dog had an accident last week.
Yeah.
My grandma's on death door. I'm in prep, so anabolics are highest that they've been, and my resting heart rate's the lowest it's been.
Nice.
Wow.
So it's like there's proof in the pudding. Do you know, like
Mhm.
of like what we're talking about now? Um, I've put on at least 7 pounds to 8 pounds of tissue.
Mhm.
So again, for someone who's 35, who's been doing this for a long period of time, and I use very, very minimal anabolics in the off season, like in the improvement phase, compared to what I've used previously. I think we look at things in separate prisms, so like separate categories, sorry. So we look at training in one category, nutrition in another category, and then we separate it like that, but it's all intertwined.
Yeah.
And like what I was saying to you before, in regards like the what Joe Jeffrey's presentation was on in education today, it was just fucking awesome. I've
Mhm.
ordered 3 books off the back of it. Um, it, it how can I describe it? It all just makes sense.
Well, tell us what. Because by the way, just before we move on from the training thing,
Yeah.
what is, and then tell when you tell us all about Joe Jeffrey's call because that sounds amazing. And I want to know why you're going to Japan. And then I want to hear about golf, which was the first question as well. I've
Yeah.
got all of these open loops in my mind. We need to
Go
close
on.
them off. Autism's going crazy. Right, but the training thing. So obviously, we know it's not going to be one specific answer. It's going to be somewhere on a continuum
Yeah.
at a given time, a given day. So one extreme is everything to failure. We probably know that's not correct. The other If we shift a little bit further this way on the continuum, though, could we just say, well, do 2 reps in reserve on everything and do 4 sets? If you can recover from that, would that not be theoretically better? At what point do you feel like we can't go any further this way and we shouldn't go any further that way? Where do you feel like the sweet spot is?
No, I think it's a
If you
very
could
good question,
describe
mate.
it.
So like if you look at the 4 sets, the 2 reps in reserve, you're going to argue that maybe only the first set you do, one of them reps is effective, two of them reps effective because you're not going to be able to do 4 sets of pushing that motor unit high enough to get them effective reps. Does that make sense? I
Yeah.
think for the most, because if we look at if we look at the research and what we're delving into here, we notice after 6 sets of a given body part, the amount of motor units will down regulate for that body part. So you're going to get limiting returns on your investment. Okay.
Mhm.
So if you're looking at a back, you've got to do maybe 3 sets for upper back, 3 sets for lats. And that's the maximum we're going to see that high threshold multi-unit recruitment at. And there's going to be outliers to this. There are going to be outliers. Some people who can do 8. There's going to be some people who can only do 2. So everyone's going to fit within that. So in regards to your questions, like if we're training reps in reserve, it means you have to do more volume, okay? Which means more time in the gym.
Mhm.
So there's an inefficiency element of things with regards to time in the gym. But I'm also a fan of getting the minimum effective dose. I don't
Mhm.
want maximal recoverable volume because I feel like when you've got maximal recoverable volume, your your margin for error is less. When you've got
Mhm.
minimum effective dose, you can might go for that 50-50 rep that you shouldn't have probably gone for, and it's not going to affect you too much with your corresponding sets. Whereas if you go for that on the max recoverable volume, that can really impact not just that workout, the workouts following it as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's why I think getting the least is the most important because I had this debate with someone else. It might have been you, Isaac. I'm not too sure. We spoke about maximal recoverable volume and minimum effective dose, and that's why I always err on minimum effective dose because you rightly said before, it's as long as you can recover from it. So if you
Mhm.
can't recover from it, it means jack shit.
Yeah,
You're
for
just
sure.
putting yourself into a hole.
Yeah. Do you feel
But
like you have to earn the right to
Yes,
be at the minimum effective dose?
yes. So like this conversation is based off the facts of you actually know how to train to failure,
Yeah.
which by the way isn't a hard concept. You do it until you can't do any more. Like that's the concept of training to failure. It's like you do a leg extension, right? Until you can extend that, until you can't extend that knee back up to parallel,
Mhm.
you've got more in the tank. It's really not that hard.
As a
It's not.
concept.
Yeah, it's like but what I'm trying to say is, it's not hard to do. It's like it might be discomforting, it might be painful, but it's not hard to do. You do it until you can't do it anymore. It's the same as it's the same as like it's the same as anything until you physically can't do it.
there's going to be so many people listening.
Yeah.
About I would say 80% of people that are listening to this, maybe not 80%, at least 50% will be like, yeah, yeah, that makes sense. And then we would go and take them on a leg extension and they'd be like 6 reps away from failure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the issue when we have these statements was like me and you spoke about this, like when I put you through a set in that hack squat and all this, I pushed you past failure.
Do you?
I did on that set.
On that set, yeah, 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 for
Yeah.
sure.
So when it comes to this concept, it's like, are we pushing people past failure
Uh-huh.
to teach them what failure is?
Hmm.
Okay, so you're exposing them to a new stimulus that they've never ever experienced before, then they can pull back. Or are we teaching them what they perceive level of failure is? Because this is the argument now is like, but say if they perceive something as failure, is it failure?
No, because it's just a perception, it's not reality.
But the only way you teach them reality is by them actually starting to believe more and more that they got more and more into the tank. So this
Yeah.
is where I think a logbook is really important. So when people hate against a logbook, I think it's a ridiculous thing to hate against. One, it's a book, so don't get why you hate against a book. It's fucking stupid, isn't it? But also it's like if you keep lifting heavier, you're inevitably at some point going to hit failure.
Yeah.
Because the amount in which you can
Yeah, yeah,
increase
for sure.
is going to be limited at some point because you are going to hit a brick wall. Otherwise, I think I made this statement last week or it might have been the week before. We'll all be fucking Eddie Hall.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And just by definition, you would, if you're not close to failure, you would have to gradually get closer to it because you wouldn't be getting enough stimulus. So
Yeah.
if you go heavier, you would naturally close the gap between your capacity and what load you're lifting. So yeah, for sure.
Let me
And
just add to that, mate. Sorry, let me just add to that whilst we're still talking about failure. So when I said it's not hard to go to failure, I think it's not hard to do something you physically can't complete anymore. I think being able to be accurate with failure is very hard.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
So if we
Yeah,
look at like a leg extension, keeping your bum on the seat, keeping your abs braced, and not throwing load is hard to do to failure. But doing
yeah,
a leg extension so you physically can't do anything because it's too much pain to actually extend the knee, or you physically can't do it anymore because you're depleted completely of all energy. That's not hard to do. And when I say it's not hard to do, it's not a hard concept to do. It's like you do it going till you can't go. There's no skill required for that though.
Yeah.
Just a mental fortitude.
yeah. Agreed, agreed. So, but when someone, but most people still can't even do that bit. So it's
Mhm.
like when you say it's their perception of failure, I think part of coaching is why I love coaching in person since I started doing it. So like I just love it so much. It's like just being able to gradually shift someone's perspective of what failure is and help them understand. It's like, oh shit, like this is what it really is supposed to feel like. Um, One of the things as well, Ali, that I'll tell you about, I was doing a session yesterday. I got called a magician this morning. Was it a magician? Which it was, someone said it was witchcraft, and it was something you showed me like 4 years ago. Um, about he basically couldn't contract his left tricep, and he got him to activate his lat, and then he could.
Yeah. And it's just like it's cool that like I agree with you by the way. I think one PT is like I still need to speak to Ant about this. Not that Ant's going to listen to this podcast. Um, there's something about getting people in a room and going, this is how you do something, but
Yeah.
all of you are going to perform it differently,
Hmm.
but you all want the same outcome.
Yes.
And that's the
Yeah.
skill of coaching. It's like you, all three of us here are all built. I know we're all not ridiculously different in heights and sizes and all that kind of thing, but we'll all still perform a lat pull down differently
Hmm.
based off our ability to contract tissue, based off our rib cage, based off our muscle mass, based off the load in which we use, based on the internal cue that we need to give ourselves. Like it's also inter-individual
Hmm.
that I don't think coaches understand the pleasure and the what's the word I'm trying to think of here? The opportunity that they've got to really change people's lives when it comes to coaching.
It's a
Yeah.
privilege.
You know
Privilege,
what?
that's the word, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Privilege. One thing I'll share with you. This morning I was doing something where I was basically getting I've got a folder where we basically store all of the social proof on Google Drive, which is like basically just WhatsApp messages that people have sent us that we've screenshotted because it's like amazing testimonials, so a review that someone's done or a whatever. And I had to title them all, and there was like 200, 300 things, and I was sat there going, "Oh my God, there's so fucking many." And I put a timer on. I was just like, "For fuck's sake, I've got to go through all these fucking things and title every single one of them." And then I hated it at the start, and then by the end of it, I was like, "Oh my God, this is fucking the best. This is the best fucking job ever." Like, look at all of this impact that we have. Because sometimes we forget that because we do it so often, it feels so normal. And, if you get exposed to something so consistently, it doesn't have the same impact as it once did. But like just the sheer volume of it all being in one folder, I was like, fuck me, this is insane.
Mm. It's cool. It's really cool. Like if you think about it, how many people do you think you've worked with in the career that you've had? It's a silly amount of people when you actually probably sit think down how many people you've WhatsApped
Yeah,
from
I
when you
checked
started
this.
to where you are now.
I checked this on my WhatsApp. I think in total, it's been somewhere in the region of like 500 to 600 for me personally. Um, but I've looked at my WhatsApp, and I think I'll double check it because I don't want to butcher the number. But I think I've sent and received, I think it was 1.2 million WhatsApp messages or something ridiculous. Just like, what the hell?
Mad, isn't it? Jody, like when you put into numbers and you think, fucking hell, like that's 1.2 million messages.
Wait, I'm
And
just going to double check because that actually sounds too high. I just want
no,
to
it
double
doesn't.
check.
If you think about it logically, you think how long you're on your phone every single day, you think how many people you should probably speak to in a day, back and forth messages. Like I'm one of my clients is competing on the weekend. I've spoke to him 20 times today.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
for
think it was
sure.
high hundred thousands or 10,000s. I remember you showed me.
Oh, sorry, it's half a mil, not 1.2 mil. So I've
Still obscene amount of messages.
sent 100,000 and received 500,000, so 600,000 basically.
It's cool, isn't it?
It's crazy. So give me another 7 years, we'll be at a mil. Or no, 5 years, we'll be at a mil.
Yeah, mate, it will be. Yeah, and I think this is why like everyone gets worried about AI. AI won't take our job.
No, there's no chance. There's no chance.
There's no chance. It's like I'm not worried about AI in the slightest.
No,
No, no, AI
no.
can't AI can't do what I do.
It's not possible. It's like, well, I suppose it's like, when you're a PT and then online comes around, it's just a technological advantage. You use a tool if there's a tool that's available, but it's like it can't replace like the fact that computers exist can't replace coaches. They just stop being on the gym floor quite as much, and now they do it on and deliver it in a different medium. You might have in 10 years from now some form of AI system that makes your job a little bit easier, so you can remove things a little bit faster. But it's
Mhm.
never going to be able to replace you.
No,
No.
no, I completely
I
agree.
think a really good example is accountants when QuickBooks came out.
Yeah, yeah.
That's like the perfect thing to, on paper, put accountants out of business.
I,
But
I, I could, I, no, I could see AI putting accounts out of business though.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
now accountants just use QuickBooks.
Mm.
Like
But
pre-AI, that came out, same concept. They think it's going to overtake everything, and then they just use it.
yeah,
yeah,
Because you
yeah,
still need a human on the other end.
you still
yeah,
need
yeah,
to ask the right questions.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Just like even if people have AI, they need to know what questions to ask. They need to then listen to the AI that they don't trust because it's a machine, and then they've got to follow
Of
it.
course.
But there's no social implication for not following it because it's a fucking machine. So it's like, yeah, there's no chance. But Ali, tell us about the Joe Jeffrey call and
Oh,
why you're going to Japan.
like so, like everyone who's been on this now and you two know for sure, Daphne, I've been like really, really interested in the autonomic nervous system for definitely the last 6 to 12 months, but probably it's always been in my subconscious in regards to something that I know it's something I need to address. Probably
Hmm.
since I started coaching when I first worked for a company and it was poor check base and it was all these holistic practices and all this. And when you're young, you don't think it means anything, do you? Like, unless you're you two, because you two are a little bit on the spectrum, but it's like when you're young, it's like you don't think of the importance of it. And then you said a few things. So basically, you spoke about like neuroplasticity, you spoke about the autonomic nervous system where you got sympathetic, parasympathetic, and all this. But when you started to speak about meditation practices, he was saying some things which, so he's not a fan of guided meditation. He says if you go to any kind of Japanese culture, any kind of Buddhism thing, it's like blasphemy to do guided meditation.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like you should need it. So what he says about what he was pretty much saying, and I don't mean to like I'm going to paraphrase this, and I hope I sort of quote him correctly, is when it comes to meditation, you're just supposed to sit with how you feel. Okay. So he thinks just sitting is the best meditation you can do.
Hmm.
Just sitting. So and then whatever comes in, whatever goes, and trying not to fixate on the feelings and thoughts. But if you do fixate on the feelings and thoughts, just go with it. And he was talking about things like anxiety and all these other emotions and feelings that we may get. And instead of trying to do something to get rid of the anxiety, to sit with the anxiety. And then you start to teach your body it's not a threat. So what the concept was that you're saying, and by the way, like the way you're nodding and smiling, this is all I was doing on the fucking call. I was just like this, like a fucking nodding little Chester cat. Um, like when you start to, so for example, let's use anxiety in this conversation now. So when you start to get the feeling anxious, and then you're trying to do things to prevent the anxiety feeling, you're now then signaling to your body that anxiety is a threat,
Mm.
and then you heighten the anxiety even more so. Whereas if you sit with the anxiety and just deal with the anxiety for how you feel, you're then teaching your body it's not a threat. That's a very simple way in which you would put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's such a foreign concept because over here of, oh, I need to do breath work, or I need to do this, and I need to write down in my journal when I feel anxious. But we shouldn't be doing that theoretically. We should be doing breath work because I live and die by that state app. Like it's something I do every single morning. I think being able to control your breathing is a very important skill. And I do think journaling is quite a good thing. Like I've wrote a good, cool few things in my journal over the last couple of days of things that I want to intrigue, things that are just in my head that I want to
Yeah.
explore, but we
Yeah.
shouldn't be using them as a tool to get away from how we feel.
Yes. Yeah.
And honestly, like I was just smiling the whole way through. So once I've got a call at 4 o'clock after this, I'm just going to sit for 10, 15 minutes in an
Yeah.
uncomfortable position,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. For
which
sure.
for me is on my knees
Yeah.
because
What
I've
are
got
you
the
gonna,
mobility of a fucking ox
what are you just gonna sit there in discomfort, physical discomfort, and just
for 10
experience
minutes.
it?
For 10
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the I think honestly that is one of the best, most insightful meditation practice types that you can possibly do is just sitting with physical discomfort because you think that it's real and then you realize probably after like 8 minutes that it's not.
So that's he says that. So it's like goes in line with this is so the brain adapts to stress, doesn't it? Like we put stress on the body, and the body then has to adapt to the whatever the stressor is. So do you know when you don't want to do something, that's when you need to do something.
Yes.
So like I'm reading the book now, A Man's Search for Meaning. Do you both know the book? Oh, Jake, I know what you wrote that come yesterday, and I think have you heard about it, Isaac?
I've heard of it, I've never read it.
Yeah, so it's about like the Holocaust and things like this. I was speaking to my friend about this yesterday, and we were talking about like, you're like I'm going through prep now, and look, energy's a little bit low. I'm fucking lean, so I'm inevitably tired. But mate, I'm still on probably 300 grams of carbs on training day, maybe 250 on a rest day. I've got protein to an adequate level where it's probably, I don't know, 200 grams, something like that, and fat's probably around about 50 grams. I've got calories going into my body, right?
Mhm.
These people who were going through this in World War II had watery soup, a small portion of watery soup, and a very small portion of bread a day, if they were lucky. And then they got told to do 12 hours of manual labor.
Wow.
The human body, and by the way, obviously they were not in a healthy state, but the human body is capable of a lot of things. But we're very, very good at telling the human body not to do things.
Yes.
I'm tired, I've not got time and all this. And then when we're doing these excuses, it's very easy for the body, for ourselves to justify our laziness. But when
Mhm.
we're tired, we should go for a walk.
Mm.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
When we're tired, we should go to the gym. Because
Yeah.
then all we're doing is we're just relaying them, we're changing the neural pathway of being tired doesn't mean I can't do things,
Yes.
which
100%.
then which is a very powerful thing because if you want children, and obviously children are going to make you tired because they're going to get up in the middle of the night, it doesn't mean it's going to affect your following day.
Yes.
Mm.
100%.
You crack on with the shit you need to do because, like, and I use this example, like, well, I didn't use it a couple of weeks ago, so it didn't happen. But obviously, I had some fucking shit news last Monday, and I still ate my food, and I still went to gym because they were the things I could control.
Yeah.
Because like outside of that, what else can I do? I'm not going to sit there and be in negative headspace. It's like it wasn't up to me what happened. It was up to people who were a lot more smarter with me what needed to be done. So I think if people had that approach where you control what you can control, it's only going to be better.
100%. However, a lot of people don't have the capacity to be able to differentiate what they can and cannot control, and they get deeply overwhelmed by everything, even if they can't control it.
Yeah, the thought of overwhelm. So I got overwhelmed before when I was in the vets. Um, some guy was there. So I think overwhelm is a good emotion sometimes, and I think it shows that you're human. Like an
Hmm.
overwhelm of emotion, I don't think it's a negative thing at all. But it's instead of like trying to mask it, it's just like to accept it. So this guy come in with his Frenchie, and he was there last week, and I think there was some issues with it. He come with the Frenchie, and the Frenchie struggling to breathe, mate, struggling to breathe, and he's a bite. If this is gonna sound really bad, no, no, so the stereotypical white pub British man who goes to pub, goes and watches England. That's what like fucking hard man, right?
One of
Yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah. Just like a hard looking man, right? Tattoos and all this kind of thing. And you could see he was emotionally distraught.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
didn't know what to do. You could see the dog meant the world and whatnot. And obviously, what happened last week, like, emotions come over me when I left the place because the vet saved my dog's life, essentially. And like, I was in a different place than with it. So, what I'm trying to say with this, like, I was overwhelmed with emotion
Yes.
because, like, it was like, fuck me, like, that could have been me and all this. And it's not a negative thing. I think overwhelm is a negative thing when you let it to stop you doing things that you want to do.
Yeah.
Like, like why?
Well, I think that it sort of ties back to what you said, isn't it? Because I think when people get overwhelmed and it causes them to freeze, it's often because they haven't addressed a lot of the stuff that needs to be addressed emotionally. And then it builds up to such a point where it's so overwhelming by definition, where they then can't process it. Whereas you're speaking about being overwhelmed with emotion, that's sort of just like a natural, beautiful thing that occurs, and it sometimes actually is a nice experience.
But let's talk about like overwhelm with things that you need to do. You just break it down, don't you?
Hmm.
I think
Absolutely.
people when people look at things from such like we've all got loads of shit to do. Like there's always stuff to do, unfortunately, in this day and age. Like Jake, did I send you the podcast yesterday?
Arthur Brooks one.
Yeah, did I send you it or not? Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Isaac on Chris Williamson, the Arthur Brooks podcast?
The most recent one, yeah.
Yeah, and Joey says like people need to learn to be bored.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, honestly, like when he said that, and then Joe Jeffrey had the fucking thing today, I was like, Joe, like two light bulbs just go off at the same time. It's like, oh my God, I feel like I've cracked life. That's where it was at.
Yeah. Yes.
But like it's that like the overwhelming thing. It's like, well, what can you do? So let's take our job, right? Well, I can do my check-ins. Okay, I can go for a walk, and I can go to the gym. The other stuff like me accountant's work, the accountant work can get done tomorrow.
Yeah.
Instead of going, I need to do this, need to do this, need to do this, and then you don't fucking do anything anyway. You're going too
Mhm.
overwhelmed doing check-ins. You can't be too overwhelmed doing check-ins because people fucking pay you. So get your fucking check-ins done.
Yeah, I don't know how you can be overwhelmed doing check-ins, man. It's
No, neither
crazy.
do I. I can't get my head around that. But like
Well, yeah,
what?
wait, has someone actually said that before?
Yeah, but I mean, people all the time it's like, oh, I've got this amount of clients who don't know how to handle this amount of clients. It's like, grow up. It's like, well, don't take them on then. Give them the money back.
Yeah, yeah,
But like, do you know, like it becomes like, even though when you are overwhelmed, you're still going to do the task in hand. And then all you're teaching yourself then is the overwhelm isn't that bad.
yeah,
Yeah,
But if you keep running away from the overwhelm, you're confirming to your body and your brain, because your brain is smarter than what you think you are, that it is bad. And that was
yeah,
probably the biggest key home that I took away from Joe Jeffy. Is like when we're running away and we're trying to do things to mask how we feel, because we know, for example, we know breath work can bring down our resting heart rate and help stimulate the vagus nerve. But all we're doing is going, what I'm feeling is bad. I need to do something to counteract this. And by counteracting this, it means I'm going to feel better. So, but all you're doing is like, so when that event happens again, your body knows it to be danger.
yeah,
yes,
But
100%.
it's not danger. A client check-in isn't danger. Do you know,
Yeah,
and I think this is where the world becomes is very, very silly. It's like we get triggered by very insignificant things,
yes.
and we find it, but we treat it because our human body doesn't know the difference. Sorry, our brain doesn't know the difference from what's real and what's fake as genuine threat.
yeah,
100%.
But an Instagram post, if you classed as an Instagram post as genuine threat, you need to assess your fucking life.
100%. But it's a really good point, isn't it? Because some people will trick themselves into thinking that they are spiritual and in tune with themselves, and they are not the same as people that are doom scrolling to avoid emotions or taking drugs to avoid emotions. But they will go, I'm going to meditate to feel better. It's just the same thing. You just
Yeah.
use, or I'm going to train to feel better, or they will unconsciously bury themselves in work specifically to avoid an emotion, but they'll label it as something that is positive and good. It's
Mhm.
like whatever the thing is, it's still technically a vice to avoid addressing whatever needs to be addressed.
yeah,
I think that was like that's what it is. It's just if life is simple when only put it into these terms,
Hmm.
like it's really, really not that hard. It's like, do you know what you feel it.
Yeah, just pay
So I'm
attention.
gonna go back on something I used to say now. Okay, I used to always say feelings aren't real, and I still believe the concept of feelings aren't real. We make them up. Do you know what I mean? Like we make like the feeling of love is something that we make up. It's like it's just having that connection to someone. Do you know what I mean? Or the feeling of like trying to think. The feeling of I don't know, getting I don't know, I can't think of it off the top of my head
Yeah,
now.
yeah, I know what you mean.
Prep's kicking in. But what you feel internally is real because you've confirmed to yourself it's real.
Yes.
And that's what we need to sit with and accept. And I think the question to ask ourselves sometimes is why?
Yeah, yeah.
Like what's the reason I'm feeling this?
yeah,
What relevance does it have to me? And just sit there and when people say sit there and explore it, like I think that when you actually sit down and think of that concept of sitting there and exploring it, it's really, really quite revolutionary.
Hmm. Because
Like,
we realize we've been running subconscious beliefs that are not even our
yes.
own. And then when we actually hold them up to account and we go, is this true? We
Hmm.
realize that most of it's not true. And then we go, oh, actually, I'm gonna change that, and then we get different outcomes. One of the things that I was thinking about yesterday, which I think is I think you guys will both love, is because I've always sort of because you said their feelings aren't real and everything that we experience is just, you know, neurons firing around in our brain and shit. And we were speaking there about you're gonna kneel down after this and experience 10 minutes of pain. And after a while, you realize that it's just it doesn't exist. It's just a sensation that your nervous system is creating. Is all we are, and all humans are, and all every animal and organism is, well, not organisms. Let's just say humans, because it's more appropriate. We're just nervous systems with skin on and muscle reacting to whatever the fuck's going on outside. And when I visualized a nervous system, we all know what a nervous system looks like. You've seen like a nervous system on its own. Like that's all we are. We're just nervous systems with chemicals flying around. And that is literally our whole experience of everything. And it's fucking wild.
yeah.
It,
And
it's bizarre.
do you know what I find crazy as well? It's that I don't know what you both believe, but I also think that all of the way that we respond is all predetermined as well for most people.
Yes.
It's all predetermined by other people, like formative years. So
Yeah.
most of that is
Are we getting
actually
into
just like
the
a game that's just playing that we think we're in full control
are we getting into the free will debate, are we?
of.
So,
I think that's for another day.
Do you think free will exists, Ali?
yes, but not to not to the level of what we think. So I decide to put a gun to my head or not.
But then the question becomes, did you decide to do that? Or is it natural that you would have done that because of every single thing that has happened in the universe up until this point? The fact that you have the genetics that you have, the whole life experiences that you have, every single thing has led to you being exactly how you are and having this exact thought because there's one specific atom that fell in the right place at the right time inside your brain that was always going to happen that told you to put a gun to your head and then
Yeah,
blow
yeah,
you.
but when you speak like that, then it's like because I understand what you're saying. It's like no decision that we make is actually through our own. It's all programmed out for us. But I think
Mhm.
that's a bit of a far-fetched way to look at life without it being proved.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It is.
So it's basically it's just basically a hypothesis, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas we understand that from what we know is we decide to do things or not. Like
Hmm.
that's what we know to be true. So that's why, like I would say, but what I will say to that is, I do think that a lot of the decisions that we do make is because of what we're told to do. So do we have free will or not in that situation? It's a very good point because if we look at like the UK right now, there's obviously this massive divide within the country. So people who actually probably didn't give a shit about what's going on in the country probably now give more of a shit what's going on in the country because we're told to give more of a shit about it. So that's not free will as far as I'm concerned because we're getting we're like puppets.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if you look at people who live in if you go back, if you go to like Japan and these Buddhists who live in an environment that's not controlled by anybody else other than what they think and what they do, that's I think they have free will, yes.
I just pulled up, I remember seeing this someone. They're supposedly 95% of our daily behavior is unconscious.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
surely
that's
that
true. That's
means,
true, by the way.
yeah, so surely that means that 95% of our days we don't have free will.
No, 95% of the days, it's whatever we've experienced is making decisions, but we're
Yeah.
still making the decisions.
Well, the question then becomes though, Ali, if you were me and I was in your life and I was you, would we make the same decisions?
Don't know.
So like if you
I don't know.
did
That's the
exactly the
answer.
same, if you were exactly the same as you are now,
Yeah,
and I was exactly the same, and we swapped bodies, would we make the same decisions
I
if
don't
we had
know.
this?
I can't
Okay.
answer that, can I?
Well, I think that is the question because it's like if you have a certain genetic makeup, you've had the same conditioning all through your life, you've seen the same experiences that you didn't control, your nervous system will make a given decision that would be normal to you, but would be different for someone else in your life.
Yeah, but if you're saying your nervous system, that's us making a decision just because we're not, the nervous system's still making the decision, which is part of us.
Hmm. But it's going to be making it based off beliefs that you didn't implant into yourself.
How do you know I didn't implant it itself?
Mm.
Going down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's one of these like you're never going to know, isn't it? But
It's
the subconscious
unfalsifiable,
belief,
isn't it? It's
yeah,
unfalsifiable, so it's an endless debate.
well, if you look at NLP, like NLP is like that's like neurological. I keep fucking saying I'm going to figure out what the actual title is because I keep saying it wrong and I'm really going to offend my friend. But anyway, it's like when you walk into a shop and say you want to,
Neuro-linguistic programming.
thank you. When you walk into a shop and you want a can of Monster, you've already decided what kind of Monster you're going to get.
Have you? I don't.
Yeah.
No, you
I
have. You'll have a select book in your head where it's like this if they have this in.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like you can argue that's programmed within your subconscious. Like you, so if you go in and you know in this corner shop, you want a white, but if a white's not there, you're gonna have a pink. If a pink's not there, you're gonna have an orange. If an orange not there, you're gonna have. So it's like you work on a track. So do you know when people go and like go to a restaurant
Uh-huh.
and they look at the menu for 30 minutes,
Yeah,
you've already made your fucking decision when you looked at the menu.
yeah, yeah, 100%.
You're
You know
just
what?
trying to justify your decision now.
Yeah, yeah. You're doing comparisons and
Yeah.
a loss aversion, that's all it is. Um, okay, that's really interesting. And look, I think the free will debate is completely unfalsifiable. I think it's interesting to think about. Why are you going to Japan?
Because it's the one country I've always wanted to go to because it's 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 obviously still modern, so you can still live the same quality of life what we have within like the Western world,
Hmm.
but it's a completely different way of life.
Yeah.
Like my friend went there in over like January, and it's so clean, it's so efficient, but the architecture is beautiful. I love architecture.
Hmm.
The nature is beautiful, and I just want to experience it. I just that's probably the only country that I want to experience that I would be willing to travel however long it takes to get there to experience. Because if you look at places like Bali, if you look at places like Thailand and all these, me going to that side of the world doesn't appeal to me
Yeah.
for the amount of distance and time it takes to get there.
Hmm.
Whereas Japan, experiencing the bullet train, experiencing how you can go from like Tokyo to another part of Japan, it'd be a completely different culture shock.
Yes.
How I love the philosophies in life
Yeah.
where like family,
Yeah.
quietness, like meditation, Buddhism, all these things, like it just screams true to me. And I've always been this way inclined, I think. I've always been this way. I think that's why I've always probably like very similar to probably you two, felt different to other people.
Hmm.
And but now I'm probably accepting it's okay to be this way inclined. And
Yeah. Yeah.
this is who I am. Like I am a little fucking weird nerd who loves talking about moment arms, and I love the idea of walking and just sitting on a beach with my dog,
Uh-huh.
and I don't give a fuck about anything else. Like money is really important to me because I want to be able to go to Japan. But money's
Yeah.
not the be all and end all of what I do. The
Yeah.
impact of what I do then gives me money.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, look, I think that's really big. What is it that led you to that?
Growing up,
So to finally being able to go, okay, well, I am this. This is who I actually am.
it's a good question, mate. I don't know. I think as like I've just gone through life a little bit more, there's been things that have happened. Like shit happens in life. Like what happened last Monday was a fucking big eye opener for me.
Yeah.
My sister's two kids being born, big eye openers for me. The way the world is now and how much I don't agree with it personally, it just doesn't align with who I am.
Hmm.
Like I'm getting frustrated at things that I shouldn't really be getting frustrated at. Like I couldn't give a shit about other people on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't give a shit about fucking people's reels. It's like it really doesn't bother me. I just like to train hard in the gym and I like to get results with my clients. I
Yeah.
understand we've got to play a game, and I think that's where I probably struggle from a marketing element of things. Like it is a game, like Instagram's a game that you have to play.
Hmm.
But yeah, I feel like if the way I am now, if let's look at A in education, if I do believe if I can help coaches think how I think now, they'll be happier and better at the job.
Yeah.
Well, what's one message you would give to them?
Understand the privileged position that you're in, that you get to help people, and clients aren't numbers.
Yes. Hmm.
I think that's the issue I've got now. Clients for a lot of people are numbers on a spreadsheet of churn, retention, blah 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 blah. MMR, monthly recurring income, or recurring whatever the fucking is, right? Revenue. Instead of this is Sam. Sam
Yeah.
wants to get to this.
Hmm.
What would you what would you say to someone who's just starting?
Get fucking good at your job.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Become smart.
Okay.
Like understand what your job is. Your job is to get someone from A to B as quick as possible. Getting from A to B does not matter about a fucking reel. So, like I got asked a question before by a coach saying, "Can you show me how to perform this exercise?" One, there's YouTube. So YouTube it first and then go to me. Is this how you perform the exercise and send me the video? Like have some own thinking ability.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
But do you know what I mean? So it's like I'm looking at the message and going, are you taking the piss? It's like One, it's like I'm not even going to say the exercise, but it's like one, you should know how to do the exercise anyway. This shouldn't even be a fucking question that I'm getting sent right now, for being honest. Two, try and find something. Like the title of the exercise is on the plan. Just type it into YouTube. There must, for some reason, the link just must not sync with the exercise that I've typed in. And three, it's like then if you're still unsure, because there might be say two variations of it, send me both the variations and go, which one would you rather me do?
What, this
And
is one of your
people are
clients,
crazy.
you mean?
Mhm. Well, yeah, it's just someone who I'm working with there.
I
But
thought it was some random. Sorry, go on.
people are crazy. It's like they've forgotten what effort is. But you know, one
Yes.
of the things that you mentioned there, Ali, about you want coaches to think the way you do.
Hmm.
I think yeah, for sure, obviously being good at the job. I think you said that they would be happier. I think the thing that would make them happier is what you've just said is true self. Because if everyone thought like you, not everyone would be happy.
Yeah, of
If
course, yeah.
everyone had that concept of I accept who I am,
Yeah, so
then
yeah,
I
so when
will
I
be
said
happy.
think like me, it's more the fact of understanding who you are as an individual,
Yeah.
understanding how that then impacts your decisions that you make within
Uh-huh.
life and like what you actually want to achieve. Like whether that be you want a six-figure business, whether that be you just want two kids and a semi-detached house, whether that mean you just don't want any kids and you want to walk around with the dog and go exploring the world, whatever it may be. Like don't fit into the norm of what people tell you you want to be.
Mhm.
Yeah, 100%.
I think so when I say that, that's how I think it's like this is who I am. Like I am a little bit weird.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things that we have in the design your life system that we spoke to you about before, roughly or briefly, is like there's sort of like three sections. So it's vision, decision, discipline.
Hmm.
And so part of the vision section is essentially that is like getting clarity on who you are, what you want, who you are, what you stand for, and what you actually want to create in your life. And then the decision section, the word decision means to cut off in Latin, doesn't it? Have you heard this? This is like a popular thing now. So it's like being able to be like, okay, I know who I am, I know what I want to do, I know how I want to get there, and I'm gonna fuck off everyone else's opinions because I think a lot of the reason why people are feeling uncertain within themselves is because number one, they don't know who they are, number two, they're listening to everyone else and trying to copy what they're doing.
Yeah, I agree.
They're fundamentally the biggest fucking problem. And in that sense, they don't have any fucking free will.
I think like when we were talking about this as well, I like the way you just dropped that at the end there, by the way. I think the people when normally you talk about these life decisions, people think that's it. It's like no, that's how you feel at this moment in time. In 2, 3 years, what you're speaking about here may change. So
Yeah.
you speak myself openly here. Like I was against having kids 6 months ago. I am
Mhm.
now open to the idea of having kids.
Yeah.
The only thing that's changed is my sister's had another newborn, and I can't explain it, and I don't need to explain it. I don't need
Yeah.
to understand why I feel this way. I just do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that also may change a year from now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 100%. You know, one of the things that you said before about the meditation, you said ask why. And I think it's good to ask why sometimes, but I also think that if you're generally the type of person that's quite self-aware anyway, you probably need to ask why less. Because that in
Yes,
and of
yeah.
itself can be a form of procrastination and avoidance of the experience of the emotion. Sometimes you just need to feel it and go, oh well, I want to have kids and that feels nice and that's fine. And we can leave it there.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point, mate. I think when we say like about asking why, it's like if it's a reoccurring thing that keeps coming to you, it's maybe explore why it's a reoccurring thing. But if it's just a fleeting feeling,
Yeah, yeah.
it's
It's
like
like people say this to me all the time. I'm sure, and you've definitely said this to me before. Lucy says this to me all the time. She's like, I wish you'd just have fun, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Because you see me working stupid hours, and it's like you think it's not fun for me, and I don't know if you still think that, Ali, but the when people say stuff like that. And then my internal dialogue is like, I just want to do this, and I don't really know why. I don't know why, and I don't really need to think about it. It feels right, and I want to do it, and it's only really a good thing as long as it doesn't. I mean, back in the day, I used to probably work a little bit too much. These days, it's much more controlled.
I
But I don't
think
need to
like
question or overthink the desire to do it.
I think when we talk about like back in the day, the reason why I probably used to say it was you could see it impacting other parts of your life that you wanted to excel in. So your
Yeah,
training, physique, so on and so forth. So it's like, as you said, mate, like I couldn't give a fuck what anyone does, it doesn't, as long as it doesn't hurt others.
yeah,
Couldn't give a
100%.
fuck if you want to like dance on a lamppost, fucking dance on a lamppost. Like,
Dance on a lamppost, that would be skillful, that
it's
fucking
fucking
hell.
just a random thing that's just come to my head. No idea why.
Dance on a lamppost.
Yeah,
Like
like
on
Someone,
the
someone,
on the top.
someone, please, Jay, can you go onto 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 Sora, please, and just create an AI video of Ali dancing on a lamppost, please? That would be incredible.
Yeah, it would be.
But yeah, it's true. It's true. Um, yeah, I think that it's really interesting, man. It's really interesting. Before we let's wrap up soon. Tell us about golf. Why do you want to get back into golf and how
Oh, I've always loved golf. I've always loved golf, but probably very same. How can I put it? Same thing. Don't have time for it. Blah 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 blah
yeah,
blah. And you just make time for it.
yeah, for sure, for sure. How
Yeah.
do you expect to not find it difficult to play golf with an extra £100 of muscle?
Because you just adapt to this. You just adapt to swing to your physique you have. Still just put a square face against the ball.
Fair enough.
Loads of people play golf, mate. They're all different shapes and sizes.
Yeah,
It's not
fair enough.
exactly an athletic sport, is it?
Yeah, who was the American guy that was like an alcoholic?
John Daly.
Yeah, he's that really good, wasn't
Yep.
he? Yeah.
I would say it's quite an athletic sport.
There's not an athletic build though, is there?
No, it's not required you to be
No.
in fast or whatever running, but like the actual swing is quite an athletic movement, isn't it?
Yeah, the actual swing is a challenging thing for you to do. But as I said, in regards to like what's actually required from an athletic position, it's like everyone within shape and size. It's like you don't need to be a certain weight and everything, so like, you're not going to be a fat sprinter, are you? Do you know what I mean? Like you need to be a certain athletic build to be able to sprint. You don't necessarily need to be a certain athletic build to be able to play golf.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
You gonna
We
be a
wrap it
scratch
there?
golfer?
Yeah, wrap it up there.
Nice.
Yeah. Guys, thank you for listening. Share it with someone who would find it valuable, and we'll see you next week.